This is the Get To Free Press, and I'm George Boston Rhymes. For the last few weeks, I have not been publishing many videos. I've been out of town. I've been working, recording down in Kingsland, Georgia, wherein Tony Green was shot several times, a couple times in the back. The white judge released the police officer Zachariah Presley on bond. We were there for the bond hearing, and I just posted a video concerning that young man's death. Another young man to die in the war zone of America. Then I journeyed up to Omaha, Nebraska, and while there in Omaha, I met some family members. I met some friends and individual, Mr. Marshall with a bookstore, black bookstore, and I was very impressed with the work him and his wife is doing there. And I was led over and given a tour of the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, and I'm about to put that video up sometimes today or tomorrow, and I want you to sit back and enjoy. This is an introduction to why the Get To Free Press kind of been laying low lately. Let me regress back to Kingsland, Georgia. I met a beautiful sister there. I'm going to reserve her name and let her give it to you. I'm going to be posting that video in a few minutes. In fact, I will put this video in front of it. But I recorded it much earlier in 3 different segments. And I did that because when we went over there for the bond hearing and for the funeral and for a town hall meeting, I got to talk with this young lady, and I recorded her. But I never posted her video because I wanted it to be a reflection of the work that Attorney Malik Shabazz has done here in South Georgia since he's been coming here. He's also been here with the Kendrick Johnson case in Valdosta, Lowndes County Judicial Complex. And so I just wanted him to be in that particular video so you will see him embrace the people who are working there in the museum of the Thou Call memorial work that's being done. So today I want to say to you that I'm here because I want you informed. I've come to the conclusion that CNN, MSNBC, even with Al Sharpton, although he's a black man, and I'm not criticizing my brother, but I believe that I can produce and back up everything that I'm saying, that too often the news in the black community is not being published, and it seems as if though there's nothing we can do about it, because white people, they are getting bold in what they attempt to carry on the old Jim Crow laws. And so we must understand that we cannot blame anybody but ourselves. And so I want to quit what I'm doing. I don't get paid for it. I very seldom even receive words of appreciation. But you who do appreciate it, you tell me. But for the most part, a lot of black people do not care about other blacks who put themselves on the line to try to keep the history alive for our children and coming generations. Some of us seem to not appreciate social media, who will bring the news to you on Facebook, will present it to you on Instagram, but your mainstream news media say the hell with black people and the hell with their news, and we won't connect the dots, and they make us look silly and stupid and ignorant when we know our minds are some of the best minds that God has ever produced in the pyramids, and so much of our knowledge has been lost because we relied on white people to publish it, and they did just that. They published what they wanted, and they excluded the beef of the cow that we needed in order to survive. And so it's a new day among us. Thank God for social media. Thank God for Black Lives Matter. Thank God for the white right people who can see beyond the forest. They are white people that embraces me while others call me a racist. They sit and they just say, George, what in the hell wrong with those people? And I'm not saying that as a cover. You know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about white people who will go with me, who will support me, who will back me when black folk will not even go to Mississippi when they can afford it. And some black folk got plenty of money. Some black folks will never do what I'm doing, but we benefit. But they benefit from what we do. Their children benefit. Their children are able to walk into jobs and not have to fight for that job because of what people like me and what people like Reverend Rose and others are doing. Rich for black folk. We are making it better for them. Just like Martin Luther King made it better for many of us. And I don't like giving Martin Luther King that much credit because there was others who came before Martin Luther King that did great work. It's just at the time and it was right. And the shoe was able to fit because others who had traveled a great line of Holy Divine. Let me close this out now, and I'm going to take you right into a chemical plant in Woodbine, Georgia, where they made munitions, some type of explosive material during the Vietnam War. And I want you to watch and see how these black people, 29 to 30, was killed, and they haven't gotten what they deserve. And so when I went there and I saw this, I just had to say something. I'm going to be honest with you. I'd never heard of that. I'm just being honest with you. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to do my best to spread it to everybody who don't know anything about it. Same way with the Malcolm X Foundation. When I went there and I saw what they are doing there in Omaha, Nebraska, I went there to record, wherein they had a monument even years ago that he was born there in Omaha, Malcolm X. I went there in '72, and I saw that. But now a major work is underway for that great black man who was criticized even by religious leaders because he was a Muslim. You know, I used to be like that too. I used to think that my religion in Christendom and Pentecostal holiness was the only religion that God had made where people could go into the hereafter. I believe that if you was a Baptist or AME or CME or Catholic, you was going to hell. You had to be a holiness like me. But it didn't take me long, my brothers and sisters, to understand that somebody set religions up to control the minds of men. And this is why I don't like religion. I mean, I don't follow the pattern that I did years ago. I don't even like, speaking of religion, I don't even like refried beans. And so you know I don't like religion. What I like is the holiness, which is mean clean and set free. I love all religions if they are right. And you can tell when they are right, when they do right. Look here, y'all. I'm carrying it too long. I'm sitting here right now in Alabama, and North Alabama, that is. And I'm going to be leaving here pretty soon, moving up to Atlanta. I got an event tonight. But I'll be out of there tonight. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be back in Valdosta this afternoon. I do this because I care, man. That's all I can say. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like the work I do. I got some people who love what I do and some despise my guts. But there's one thing they should know. They should know that I love them. And I mean that 100%. That's why when you strike at me, when you strike out at me, you will not see me come out at you in the same manner that you are accustomed to. Because I believe the words of one who came as an image of the divine force, which says, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I don't care how much Hannity, I don't care how much any black leader, Al Sharpton, if he does it, I don't care how many people strike out at Donald Trump and others that are allowing themselves to be used by God for God to paint this picture. Me, I cannot speak ill of any man. At least I speak ill of God, because I don't know why God allowed these people to come on the planet. But in his mix of things, he had to have a reason for allowing a Hitler to come among us. He had to have a reason for a Lester Maddox, a Governor Wallace, a David Duke, or Robert E. Lee, etc., etc. He had to have a reason for these people coming among us. So there is no need of us fighting them, at least we fight against God. Now you always stand for truth, and you expose the fruits that fall from the wicked tree. That's our job. But when it comes down to just outright hating people and speaking ill and driving them in the mud, just remember that God is still in control, and he have not signed this world over to Donald Trump, Jesse Jackson, or any other man. Not even to Louis Farrakhan. No, no, no. God is still in control, believe it or not. And so now I'm asking you to sit back and relax. Watch the video. Share it with your friends. And above all, don't criticize everybody. There's some good still in this world. Everybody is not bad. And if I may say this to you in closing, do you not know that Pharaoh was not as evil as some people say he was? If you read the scriptures, and if you read between the lines as my grandma taught us, you will find these words. God told Moses that I, not Pharaoh, God said I would harden the heart of Pharaoh. Those are words that are written. And if God hardened the heart of Pharaoh, then who are we to say that God did not send some wicked people before us today to perfect us and to show us that hate cannot and will not win in the world we live in today? Do you not remember in the first chapter of the book of Job, when the sons of God went to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came in among them, pretending to be a believer and a good person? But God called him out, because the all-seeing eye of God cannot be fooled. And we who are led by the Spirit of God cannot be fooled either. People can come to us and say they're good. They say they support you. They'll say they love you. They'll say they're with you. And all the time, they are of their father, the devil, and the works and lusts of their father they will do. So don't you get all excited when you find out the wicked people sitting in the place of the righteous. Don't worry about that. When you see CNN, MSNBC, Valdosta Daily Times, and other news media outlets getting all these various awards for spreading and distributing the news, but they leave the news in your community undone, yet they receive these awards. Don't be troubled by the awards, because the Bible told us that every man will be paid according to his works, and whatever his works shall be. And when the wicked are in power, they reward their own. They could care less about ignoring your news. They could care less about connecting the dots with all these black voters and black elected officials that are ignored throughout the state of Georgia, in the state of Florida, and perhaps across the nation. No news media network, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, CNN, MSNBC, HLN, these news media outlets will not connect the dots about black people that are being disenfranchised through the voting process under Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp and his all-white Board of Elections in the state of Georgia. You know that? Georgia State Board of Elections are all white. One white female, but all white. And nobody sees anything wrong with that, because they say, like I say, black or white don't make it right. But I do say that right always make it right. And so Brian P. Kemp have proven himself to be a total disgrace to the voting process here in the state of Georgia. And I'm waiting for CNN, MSNBC, Atlanta Journal and Constitution to call me and ask me, what facts do you have, George Boston Rhymes, that you base that decision upon? What facts do you have, George Boston Rhymes? We want to interview you so you can show us what you're talking about. And with all due respect, love and humility, I will tell all of the American news media networks, I don't even want to talk to you. I just want to supply you with the names of voters and cities and telephone numbers of elected officials, and elected officials that are no longer in office because they was removed by white Superior Court judges. I don't have to speak. I will give you the information. You don't have to come to Valdosta. You can go to them. You don't even have to call me for their phone numbers. In fact, Google the Madison, Florida 9 and look up Tina. Her number's out there. Call the Quitman 10+2. Dr. Nancy Dennett in Brooks County, Georgia. 12 people brought up on vote. Call. Their numbers are out there. She's the mayor now of that little town. Call Olivia Coley Pearson, a commissioner in Douglas, Georgia. You don't need me to give. Her name is out there. Her phone number is out there. The court cases that she's been involved in because of wicked white folk who try to keep blacks out of power, and black Uncle Tom that ain't Jane, who are too weak to take out the night part. And they still fighting her. Haven't finished yet. Atlanta Journal Constitution. Call Meigs, Georgia. Speak with Linda Harris. Talk to her brothers. Talk to the people in the community how they railroaded her out of office, and you wouldn't even say boo. The Thomasville Enterprise lied on her, and I done proved that in videos. Yeah, Miss Murphy lied on her, and she worked at that time for the Valdosta. She worked for the Thomasville Enterprise. And you tell me that as a servant of God, as a pastor, I can sit back and see all this, just sit, say, and do nothing about it? I'd be worse than Satan walking in the book of Job trying to present myself before the Lord as a saint. If I see all this going on and I don't say nothing about it, and I don't connect the dots. It's one thing for the Atlanta Journal Constitution to go in and do a story about Olivia Coley Pearson and how she was mistreated, but ignore the Madison, Florida 9, the Quitman 10+2, Meigs Mayor Linda Harris, Camilla Mayor Rufus Davis, Lumpkin former Mayor Charles Gibson. Voting problem there in Clayton County, Dawson, Georgia, with Mayor George Ivey, Mayor Christopher Wright, who was shot 6 times, and find out it came out in court that the city manager put a hit on him for $5,000, and since they didn't kill him, he only got $1,000. All this came out in court. But you do not see that. Atlanta Journal and Constitution, CNN, MSNBC, with Al Sharpton, 60 Minutes, 47 Marble, 30 Seconds. None of these mainstream news media will connect the dots of all these places that I've mentioned, and that's not all of them. Going around to Warrenton, Georgia, with George Ivey. Connect the dots. Go to Sparks and Sparta, Georgia, and connect the dots. But see, won't nobody do it. And yet we send our sons and daughters. Y'all excuse me, I'm not going to put this video in front of the other videos too long. But I got something to say, and I want to say it to you because I love you that much. And this is what I'm saying. If the editors and publishers of these newspapers cared about you like I am, and it's all because of God, ain't nothing I'm doing about it. But if they cared about voting rights, and if they cared about your right to vote and being fair with who is placed in position of power, they would be like me. They would be on fire, and they would connect the dots between all these places. And I got others right up near Savannah and Athens who are going through the same thing. They call me, but it's too far away and nobody support me, and so I can't go to all these places. If I was helped and supported like and had the money at CNN, oh shoot, my God have mercy. But you see, when you stand up for what is right and when you love people and you can feel the pain of the equipment 10 plus 2, all 12 of them, and one of those people, Latasha Head, died from the stress, and others contemplated suicide. No civil rights organization, for the most part, I'm talking about really committed and stood with them in their greatest hour of need. Democratic Party, DuBose Porter was not there, didn't even say boo. And you gonna sit here and tell me to vote Democratic Party without telling the truth about this ugly, wicked, discriminatory party when it comes down to black folk? Somebody got to tell the truth so we can be free and our children will be free. It ain't about game playing. It ain't about friend making. It ain't about the clothes you wear. It ain't about the meetings that you gather with people with throw their rings up in the air and come back as a gold nugget. It's not about that. It's about life. It's about preserving the nation. There's so many black, white, right, and other people suffered, bled, and died for, and now it's being torn apart because we are afraid to speak out. Never seen so many damn scared retired military veterans in my life. Uncle Toms and Aunt Janes. Never seen so many active duty scared to death black folk. Never seen so many disabled veterans who sit and know what's going on and won't say a heavenly thing. And the truth must be told so the lies can be exposed so people can be made free. Now, I know y'all mad with me. I know you are. I don't blame you. Hell, I would be mad with me too. For telling the truth. The wicked don't love the truth. The wicked despise the truth. The wicked hate the truth. The wicked will kill to get rid of the truth, as it was in the days of old. But according to Matthew 24:35, heaven and earth would pass away, but truth would stand forever. Wasn't nothing to kill Martin Luther King. Wasn't nothing for you to murder Malcolm X. Nothing for you to shoot down Jesus the Messiah. Nothing for you to hush up every man, woman, or child who come to you. You call them wicked folk. You call them communists. Isn't that something? They call Dr. King a communist. And they got videos out there tearing that man's reputation down, man. Now here come a current president and go and sell this country down the tube to a communist leader. You thought it was about skin color, didn't you? You thought it was about communists versus a democracy. You thought that, didn't you? But now you finding out the truth. You know King was not a communist. That wasn't your problem anyway. You just don't want God to win this war that he's going to win, and you too blind to see it. I thank God for what is written in the volume of sacred law, the Holy Bible. I thank God for what is written in the lost books of the Bible and the forgotten books of Eden. I thank God for what is written in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. I thank God for what is written in the Jerusalem Bible. I thank God for what is written in the Apocrypha. I thank God for what is written in the book of Jasher, the book of Tobit, the book of the wars of God, the book of the knowledge of God, Ecclesiasticus. I thank God for all these books, the Vulgate. I thank God for all these books, the Isis Papers, J.A. Rogers from from superman to man, sex and race, Ben Jacqueline, Elijah Muhammad, message to the black man. I thank God for all these books, man. The Holy Quran. I don't have time to criticize the Holy Quran. The Book of Levi. I thank God for all these books. I wished I had the books that the Catholic Church burned. That was held in the Alexandrian Library, over 300,000 volumes. Many of the books the Catholic Church burned up because of that ancient black truth and knowledge. They didn't want it to be exposed and given to the world so they could control us. They thought they had erased every part of that knowledge, but they failed to realize that the Bible tells us that I would that no man teach you, for ye shall have an unction from the Holy One, and ye shall know all things. You can't just take and abolish truth when God is the divine, the most holy, the most ancient, the most creator, the most, and the best of the best, and all the rest. While you laying down at night, God will reveal to a 7-year-old child the mysteries of the world. And he will inform that child not to say a word about it until the right time comes. That's the power of the melanin transfer. That's the power of what God has put deep down into his chosen black Hebrew Israelite people. People of the Ibu tribe and people from Ethiopia, many of them who have been manipulated by the culture and the mindset of the modern world when they should have held on to that which the ancestors gave them. And some of us didn't know nothing about our history when we went to school. Many of us, when we went to school, all we got was a white man's story. That's all. From preschool to 12th grade. From 12th grade to college. All we got was white man's knowledge. But I used the term I failed on my way to the bus station. And I fell into what God wanted me to do and what God wanted me to be. Don't get me wrong now. He told me what he wanted me to do at the age of 14. And I'm walking in that pathway right now. And so there are some of you who God have called to do a work, to do a job. But you refuse to do it because you fear the white man and because you fear death. You cannot be a servant of Jesus Christ. You cannot be a servant of Allah and live in fear. You just can't do it, man. You can't even be a husband to your wife and live in fear. You can't be a father, a good father to your children or grandchildren and great-grandchildren if you live in fear. You can't even sit up and have a good cup of coffee in the morning and enjoy it if you live in fear. But when you get rid of fear, man, you can begin to live. You can begin to smile. You can begin to put on a real internal dashiki that people can't even see. When you get rid of fear, then you are really a world's traveler then. Then you can get the password from this life into eternity. You can't be a pastor living in fear. You can be a Cayenne pastor, but you won't be a real pastor. Not if you live in fear. Too heavenly scared to stand up when members of your congregation are being discriminated against, and you can't say nothing. You're too weak to even send a dime to the people that you know are standing on the square, being measured by the life they live by the plumb line of justice, meeting you and every man that they greet on the level, saying, I'm just as good as you, and you are no better than me. Man, you can't preach no sermon like that, man. Living in fear. And God knew this. This is why God said, not Satan, I did not give you the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. A sound mind. When I was a little boy, my daddy had his own concept of religion because he said he used to, my daddy used to sell moonshine for rich white folk there in Thomas County, Georgia. Rich white folk. He wasn't rich, but he carried himself in a way, for some reason, white folks respected him. He was the only black man, and I wasn't brought up with him either. I was brought up with my grandparents in 26 miles away from Thomas County. But they respected him. When he would take me to get school clothes, when I did see him, he walked into hardware stores and white folk called him Mr. Boston. They called him Mr. Boston. He wasn't controlled by this white man's religion. Of course, I didn't know that then. I would have to get 25 or 30 before I understood. But I fell on my way to the bus station. My daddy did not live in fear. I did. I lived in fear for many years because I followed the Christian religion. I followed what the black preachers and Uncle Tom and Aunt Jane had taught me. But when I fell and woke up out of that foolishness and found straight street as Isaiah 35:8 pronounced and proclaimed, I was never the same again. And for what I'm doing today is obvious of that. I'm willing to die for this. Yes, sir, I've been that way for a long time. I'm willing to die for this. And know that death is nothing more than an introduction to the next life. And so I don't believe in suicide. I've already told my children I don't mind being cremated. But if there's a question about my death and surrounding my death, then I want to be around so they can exhume my body 20 times if necessary, so they can do an autopsy to get these wicked people who may come after me. But that's not one of my troubles, man. My trouble is black people who know that God has called them just like he called me, and they are not acting upon what God has called them to do and to be. And so I close where I was a few seconds ago. God did not call us to be scared. The white man is not worthy to be feared. Even if you go down in death, man, nobody on this planet should fear what another man or woman or beast could do to them. You see, at death is only a part of this life. And you're not going to get around it anyway. So you might as well walk right through it. Can't get past death, man. Why? It is appointed unto man once to die, and after that the judgment. Look here, you all. I turned this into a video. I'm going to put up the thigh call. I'm going to put it up now. Then I'll put this video up in front of thigh call. Y'all have a nice day. May the Creator forever shine in your presence. I talk like this because I love you, and I love this country. I served this country for 20 years. I may not agree with other presidents that I served under, but I respected them all. In the same manner, I'm going to respect President Donald Trump. God is allowing Donald Trump to do some things because there's some things God won't know, not only to the people in Georgia and America, but to the world. Every round goes higher and higher. And when we get to the end of our destination as a nation, and if we do not measure up, to the standard of love, justice, and equality, then we can expect to go down the road of ancient Rome. One thing about Donald Trump, we don't have to worry about who our friends are anymore. We don't have to worry about who our black or white friends are anymore. We don't have to be confused about our neighbors anymore. Now you know your friends, and you know the real patriots who love this nation. You know the people who have sided with communism and communist leaders and dictators. We know who embrace people, who embrace murderers of their own people. We know now. We thought we knew yesterday. But today, even Congress people, Ryan, Mr. Ryan, he cannot hide who he is today. He did yesterday. Those in the Democratic, Republican, Independent, and Green Party, we didn't know yesterday what kind of heart you had. But today, we can see how your heart is. And I want to thank Donald Trump and God for that. I thank God for revealing to us, many of the American people that have glasses in 20/20 vision, who are still blind. And I'm going to close, and this is my last thought and promise to you, and I'm not going to make myself a liar. In your spare time, read, well, Google the fruits of the spirits and the works of the flesh. Just Google that. And then you will know who are righteous and who are wicked. You don't have to guess no more. That's why I don't have to guess what a person tell me. If a person tell me they're righteous or wicked. See, you got some people say they're wicked and they're really righteous. Yeah, yeah. They do that to see where you coming from. But when you find out the fruits of the Spirit and the works of the flesh, you don't have to worry about Hillary or Louis Farrakhan or George Ryan or BB or TT. You just look at the fruit that falls from the tree according to what is written in the volume of sacred law. It was written, judge them. Judge them. Judge the tree by the fruit it bears. If you see fruits of love, fruits of life, fruits of long suffering, if you see those fruits falling from a tree, sit beneath that tree. Sit beneath that tree and get you a good night's sleep. But if you see another tree with hatred, jealousy, envy, strife, murder, hearsays, etc., 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 and if you are not about that, then why would you embrace such a tree? Why would you lay or expect rest after you put your bed beneath that tree? Why should you expect rest when that tree gives no rest? Now, whether you know it or not, some people live all their lives not knowing that. Now, I'm telling you this. You can take it or leave it. What tree are you beneath? And that's why you can't tell who is good, who's right, who's righteous, and who's unrighteous. Because you don't know, and you don't see the fruits that fall from the tree that you built your house beneath. And just remember, birds of a feather flocks together, and every frog praises his own pond, even if it's dry.